I feel like I need to have something a little more sanguine than this tan golf shirt for this segment. Welcome back, guys, to the University of Smooth. I'm your host, Nixon the Dark, the internet's biggest fan of getting people together to fuck. This channel is devoted to decreasing the amount of sexlessness that takes place in the world, which is, by the way, an epidemic, which is what we're going to talk about today. Not an epidemic in the health sense, but we are covering geopolitical topics today because we know that female desire has such a comprehensive reach into every part of society, just like the male sex drive impacts everything. Those of you who have been observing culture, politics, even sports for the last few years have noticed that we may be in what I like to think of as a psychological civil war. If I had to speculate just for fun and just for a little provocation, I kind of think that it started when Donald Trump was elected president in 2016. The unique aspect of this civil war that has been fought in the pages of the media, the internet, social media, blood in the streets, this has been mostly female, psychological, isolated violence, not big, huge armies going after one another. This is a war that's been fought in the longhouse. It's been fought using female tactics like shaming and canceling. It has not been, as of yet, kinetic. You know what we mean by that, where there is truly escalating physical violence. It's our belief that this is only a matter of time. The demographic forces, the government lack of credibility, the what seems like an imminent collapse of governments around the globe. We are staring down the barrel of total chaos, and it seems to be accelerating. From this point forward, we're going to do a little bit of a thought experiment because we're always focused on female desire. So you may disagree with us in terms of how we see this spinning forward. That's fine. This is a thought experiment based on our belief where we see things are heading and how intersexual dynamics plays a role in what we experience. We are forecasting a second civil war. The first civil war made heroes out of a lot of men. The second civil war may do the same. We don't really know who's going to be on which side, but we suspect that physical battle lines may be drawn, in which case young men, especially you guys that have been listening to this content, following this content, dealing with a lot of frustration in your life, you may have this sense that there's an inevitability to escalating violence and you may end up in an army yourself. Or you'll be dealing with all sorts of violence and chaos, and we're talking physical violence, physical chaos. If this takes place, what do the women do? This is where we're getting to. How do the women react? React, not respond. How do women react to warlike conditions right here in your own American society? Let's game this out a little bit. It's going to be kind of fun. If we experience legitimate threats of organized violence, we're not talking about little one-off stories about angry young men doing whatever. We're talking about actual organized violence, or violence becomes so much the norm that people, families just accept, just like it happened 180 years ago, that you have to start taking sides. What happens in this scenario? Violence is literally around the corner. A woman sees her brother enlisted to fight. A woman sees her cousin enlisted to fight. A woman may be asked to fight herself. We speculate that the first thing to go will be female empowerment. Female empowerment has no place in a world where men are fighting it out. They just don't go together at all. There's even been plenty of satirical TikToks about this, like when the Ukraine war started and it was like, where the women are, oh, all of a sudden they're back in the home. That sounds like a joke, but if you have legitimate violence around the corner in our society, in our domestic sphere, that will happen. Ironically, when that does, this escalating epidemic of female mental illness, it might start to fade a little bit because that's kind of like a luxury, unfortunately and ironically, of female empowerment. In a world where men are fighting, women have other priorities. Let's take the next stage. Now we are in combat. We don't know how it's going to go. We don't know who it's going to involve, but let's just say it's like some extreme third world scenario where you have isolated pockets around the country of warlords, various militias that are organizing and taking on all sorts of other armies. Again, this is very chaotic. What do women do? If you've been following our content and you're aware of the male protector algorithm and how that is inextricably linked with hypergamy, with female desire, you already know. Women are going to find the most violent men they possibly can because they need protection. This is what women are always looking for, and the fuck or flight response will guide them to find the best protectors that are available. That may mean on a low grade level, just guys who are physically assertive around their community, who can handle firearms, who are prepared for violent scenarios, or in extreme cases, they're gonna go after warlords. In case you are not aware, historically, most of our wars were fought over access to women. That used to be the norm before the nation state became this big, huge, complicated thing. They fight over resources, but almost on a fundamental spiritual level, men fight and go to war for access to women. It will be no different in our chaotic times. Finally, the end game of our little thought experiment. At the last stages of this, women will abandon the losers and go hitch their ride to the winners. This is also no different than the dating landscape that you have experienced here in peacetime for the last few decades. Women are always abandoning losers and going after winners. War is merely the starkest, most violent example of that. This is all, in our view, an inevitability. We are ambivalent about the notion of thinking that this is right or wrong, that there's a side to choose that's on the right side or the wrong side. I don't see it as simplistically organized as the last time around, where you're fighting for freedom versus slavery. But sides will be drawn. Ideologies, there will be lines in the sand, and people will go fight and die for their beliefs. We'll end on this. Men, I want you to understand it. Even if we live in peacetime through the rest of our days and the rest of your days, I want you to understand, if we're in this fight, if you are out there fighting the good fight for something you believe in, it is imperative that you understand that women do not fight the good fight. That's not how they were designed. You know what they were designed to do. Fuck the good fuck. It is important for you to believe in something. It is important for you to fight for it. And for a lot of men, it may even be important for you to sacrifice your lives for it. Those men who fought in the Civil War, in World War II, in every other American war are considered heroes because they sacrificed. We don't know how this will play out. We see chaos coming. You must understand that when you fight to win, and you fight the good fight. Women, they will find the winner and figure it out after that, because women need protection. That is what they are designed to seek. Do not judge them for it. Instead, be strong. Build your own value. Focus on our roadmap, because even if it gets extremely chaotic, getting jacked, learning game, and converting your talent to clout will all still matter under any environment. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe. If you've got any war game scenarios, you can throw them in the comments section. We may not respond because this is just our little thought experiment. Take care.